Hello everyone. This teaching explores the origin of mind, the arising of mental fabrication, and what lies behind all experience. It points directly to the pure origin element that gives rise to thought, perception, emotion, and knowing. What is the mind in its original nature? How do mental formations arise? And what truly drives all perception and action? I will explain the pure element, which is our mind, or the life element, that is the origin element. Our mind is the origin element. It is life. The word life does not mean being a person or an animal. Our mind is a life element, without form and without name. We are this life element that is extremely clear and pure. Some may call this element energy, but this life element is not energy. The life element is subtler than the energy element. It is the origin element, the primordial element. This primordial element generates energy. That energy is called the mental element, or mental fabrication. But our mind is the primordial element, not energy. It is the origin element that is subtler than energy. Energy is only a phenomenon arising from the movement of particles of fabrication. But the mind is the primordial element. It is life. It is a living element that can learn by itself and can create all things by itself. It is the purest, most refined, and most supreme element. When there is direct realization of this origin element, the wonder of the Dhamma element is seen. This element knows all things, and there is nothing it cannot do. Once realization has occurred, everything depends on the resolve of this element itself, because the mind is the origin element. Our mind is the pure element, and we are this element. We are not human beings. No human or animal has ever truly arisen in this world. What exists is only name and form, rippling and dissolving continuously. There is no person, no animal, no such things as merit or demerit, good or bad, right or wrong, true or false, wholesome or unwholesome. These do not exist in the pure element. This element is utterly pure. It may be called by any name, but the name should not be taken as important, because the name is not the essence of that reality. This pure element, which is our mind, remember this well. We are this element. Therefore, we simply do not cling to anything in this world. Do not cling to thoughts, emotions, or even the act of knowing. Simply do not cling. Then we will be free from all suffering. It is as simple as this. Listen to this teaching repeatedly until the mind accepts. When the mind accepts, it will relax and release by itself. This utterly pure element is extremely clear and subtle. It is a living element of the same essence as the universal element. When all minds merge into this same essence, they become clear and unified as one. This is the universal element itself, and we are of that same essence. This element is alive by itself, yet it is alive without fabrication. It has no fabrication at all, pure and clear, just as it is. Yet this element itself has no inherent knowing. We do not know that we ourselves are this pure element. When the pure element cannot know what it is and cannot know all things, it generates phenomena. This is called mental formation or mental fabrication. I will give an analogy. It is like an extremely clear and pure nucleus at the center, with electrons, protons, and neutrons constantly moving and revolving around it. The nucleus is comparable to the mind, or the pure element, while the revolving movement around it is mental formation, or mental fabrication. This fabrication always moves in two poles, positive and negative. And there is a third aspect that functions as the knower, a mediating awareness that receives and supports the movement of both poles of fabrication. Once our pure element has generated fabrication, or the energy element, this energy element is in constant motion, constantly fabricating, because there is constant contact. When contact occurs, there is movement, vibration, fabrication, and knowing. Then again, vibration, fabrication, learning, and assigning value and meaning. It always divides into two sides, fabricating into positive and negative. What are called happiness and suffering, good and bad, merit and demerit, right and wrong, true and false, male and female, high and low, black and white, rich and poor, are all pairs created entirely from mental fabrication. This is because the nature of mental phenomena is always to fabricate pairs. But our mind, or the origin element, never fabricates duality. Therefore, anything that has dual characteristics, anything that appears in opposites, is entirely mental phenomena, entirely the energy element. Simply understanding the functioning of mind and mental phenomena in this way is sufficient. Do not cling to the speech that is occurring now, because spoken communication is the energy element, a vibration arising from the mind. Both thought and speech are functions that the mind relies on continuously through vibration and fabrication. We rely constantly on mental images, emotions, knowing, the energy element, and all these fabrications. If it is clearly seen that what is speaking now is not us, happiness is not us, suffering is not us, calm is not us, and that all emotions do not truly exist but are only fabrication, then this is seen correctly. When this is clearly seen, it will be understood that seeking calm emotion is delusion, because calm emotion is also mental fabrication. One who is attached to calm remains deluded within fabrication and previous knowing. When fabrication is not seen as it truly is, realization cannot occur. Remember that emotion always has two sides, because emotion is a fabricated element. Thought also always divides into two aspects, because it too is fabricated. All of these are mental fabrications. They are not us. Therefore, do not cling to thoughts, emotions, or the act of knowing. Let them perform their function, because they are not us. See them and let them pass. See them and let them pass, because it is deeply understood and accepted that they are not us. With only this, the mind will release itself from relying on the energy element. When the mind, which is the life element, ceases to rely on the energy element, that energy element will continue to change according to causes and conditions without the mind holding it anymore. Even if the energy element still remains, it becomes valueless in the eyes of one who has realized. One who has realized no longer holds name and form. When the mind relaxes and accepts, awakening arises. After realization, it is known fully in the heart that name and form are without value. The five aggregates continue to function as before. There is still hunger, still thinking, still pain. But the mind with wisdom does not cling. It allows the processes of name and form to function normally, without holding them. Liberation from suffering is here. Freedom from the cycle and non-becoming are here. Dhamma is only this simple. Always know that we are the life element that is empty, clear, and pure, empty of name and form. It is the pure element, unified as one with the universal element, abiding in this way always, with no return to grasping, clinging, or becoming again. When this teaching is heard repeatedly and understood correctly, wisdom arises, the mind accepts, and liberation occurs naturally. One who has realized will know directly that release has occurred, and will know clearly that we are the pure element, purely and simply this. The background behind all command and action is our mind itself. The mind is the root of name and form. All name and form arise from the mind, which is the origin element, the ignorance element. This ignorance element is not something bad. It is the substance composed of not knowing, an extremely pure element that still lacks knowing. It is like a pure substance that contains no information, no content within it. Therefore, this element must generate phenomena and instruments in order to fabricate and to learn. Since birth, I had never heard Dhamma explained in this way until the day of realization more than 10 years ago. I saw the Dhamma element. I saw the functioning of the pure Dhamma element. I saw the refinement and purity of the origin element. What was seen caused a profound shock, because this knowledge is not merely knowledge at the level of ordinary human enlightenment. The knowing many awakened beings possess is still coarse, when compared with the knowing of the origin element that generated the cycle. This is not enlightenment in the conventional worldly sense. It is the knowing of the origin of the universal element, the seeing of how the entire cycle was constructed and how it can be brought to an end. When the complete origin is seen, it becomes clear that ending the cycle is not difficult and can be done simply, with no doubt remaining. When this is seen, the mind goes beyond the framework of the conventional world, beyond former meanings of enlightenment, beyond worldly happiness and suffering. This understanding cannot easily be communicated to others because it is not something that can be grasped at the level of ordinary comprehension. Only a mind truly resolved to end the cycle can begin to understand this same reality. Our mind is already the pure element. Nothing impure is mixed within it. It simply does not know that it itself is this pure element. This element seeks to learn both outwardly and inwardly. Yet this learning belongs to no one. There is no being, person, or self who learns. It is a process that arises naturally by itself. This pure element remains just as it is. It seeks to learn, yet there is no one who learns and no one who owns this learning. It is truly learning without a learner. Remaining pure in this way, the element generates possibilities, the arising of fabrication, giving rise to knowing and thinking, which form the energy element that envelops the pure element itself. When these phenomena envelop the pure element, there appears what we call the consciousness element, though in reality it has no name at all. These names are merely designations we use for communication and understanding. The origin element generates possibilities in countless ways, opening in all directions, infinitely. Vast dimensions arise, and we become lost within them for immeasurable eons, and even now cannot emerge from them. All of this is generated from the origin element. At the human level, we cannot comprehend this fully, so it is simply said that all things arise from ignorance. But in reality, what occurs is not exactly as described through language in this way. Language is only a tool for human understanding at a certain level. In essence, it is a matter of the natural element, generating possibilities in many forms with vast numbers of dimensions. In the ordinary condition, we have no way to return to this origin element. It is necessary to rely on the intrinsic impulse arising from the core of the element itself, the most subtle, deep, and powerful movement of the origin element to realize itself. Without this arising from its own core, the origin element would not generate the possibility for itself to be known. When our mind is the great cause and great condition, it generates possibilities for learning. This gives rise to the driving force behind all learning. This driving force lies behind every phenomenon, every feeling, and every perception. The mind is what lies behind all of this. We call this driving force desire or craving, but in truth it is the longing to know. The mind seeks to know what it itself is and what all things are. This longing to know lies behind all action, perception, and phenomena. Yet the possibilities the origin element has generated still cannot produce the knowledge it seeks. Therefore, the origin element continues generating possibilities of mental fabrication in order to obtain that knowing. And this knowing belongs to no one. When it arises, it is not owned by anyone. It simply transforms the substance of mind from a substance that is learning into one filled with knowing. This transformation is only a shift from not knowing to knowing, becoming the substance of wisdom. This is what the mind seeks. It is merely knowing for its own preservation, not ultimate awakening. These two kinds of knowing are entirely different. For the sake of this mere survival knowing, countless minds wander through immeasurable time before conditions arise for release. For this reason, I emphasize that the intrinsic impulse of the mind be firmly established. The impulse not to be born, to awaken, and to see thoughts, emotions, and the act of knowing as merely natural phenomena, not self. One simply listens to this Dhamma repeatedly. When this intrinsic impulse is established, it becomes a driving force arising from the mind itself, and this force naturally generates the conditions and possibilities for rapid realization. What is called fulfilled param, or full determination, is not truly a matter of human willpower. It is a matter of mind as the root of all things, drawing forth the possibility that it will realize what has been intrinsically set within it. It is like an inner navigation that silently sets the direction for the movement of mind. In truth, what lies behind all phenomena is only the mind itself. There is no human on this earth. There is not even the conventional language used for communication. What is occurring now is not sound. No one is speaking, and no one is listening. There is only the possibility of the origin element resonating from mind to mind, a transmission arising directly from purity itself. This transmission does not rely on scriptures or conceptual fabrication. It occurs because the origin element is self-luminous at all times. Therefore, do not cling to being human. Do not cling to voice, thoughts, emotions, the act of knowing, or any memory. Do not cling to the idea that we were born into this world, because we have never been born. There are only phenomena continuously rippling and dissolving, merely fabrications of nature without any true self. When there is no clinging, no holding, and no doubt, listening to this Dhamma continuously and establishing this intrinsic impulse, realization can arise rapidly. I will end here. If these teachings resonate, you are welcome to reflect quietly within or share this understanding with others who seek freedom from suffering. I will end here. If these teachings resonate, you are welcome to reflect quietly within. And if you feel they may benefit others, you are welcome to share them.